Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Mr. Phresh. Today we got a low fade undercut on my man Tarek. It's gonna be a straight voiceover, pretty much no edits, so if you guys don't mind you can double the speed, but enjoy. Alright, so I'm gonna start off this haircut using a number 2. Now we're using the Barber Gold Effects against the grain, and basically we're trying to just make sure we see what's going on underneath the hair. A lot of times when the clients, they don't get a haircut for a long time, you don't know what's going on under there. You want to get an idea of the pattern. Sometimes it grows in different directions in specific areas in the head. Even though I know this client, I just want to give you a general idea. Every client you should most times start with a high number just to get an idea of the head circumference, the hair patterns, if there's any deficiencies you might find under there, right? So I'm using that comb to make sure the hairs on the top don't get cut, because I did do I tied it up with an elastic on top. He has a lot of hair, and I also put those two, the Barberology hair grippers, and I'm using a comb as well because I only had 2. So I'm going with a number 1, also against the grain. Now I'm going a little bit lower. I call this decline fade. So I'm starting high, going low. This also helps with the blending for those that are not really comfortable with going against the grain, going from lowest guard to highest guard. Sometimes I like to start with a high guard and go down, so it just helps with the blending a little bit. You guys can try out whatever styles you think may work for you. Depends on the haircuts. Every haircut has different styles that you might want to use, different clips, different machines. All right, so it's all in the client and how you feel comfortable. So that hair on top is giving me a really hard time. I'm trying to tuck it in. It's not working, so I just decided to leave it for now. Sometimes when clients have curly hair and they haven't cut for a long time, their hair pattern it's a little tricky to kind of get used to. I just took off the guard right there, so I'm using a 0.5 against the grain still. You also want to look out for those what do you call that? Occipital bone. Some of them dip a little more than others right underneath it, and you just want to get a feel of, should I go over it, should I go under it, how high under it should I go, or how much under it. So again, with new clients, you just gotta kind of feel them out, feel out their hair patterns and see what works best for that specific client. Also, you notice his neck is tilted a little bit. See, I just adjusted it right there. If you don't control the client's neck, the client will do whatever is comfortable for them. So you kind of got to guide them either with your hand or with your voice, verbally, and just let them know what position you want them in, because they might not know it, but if there's a little divot sometimes in the hair, it might give you a harder time to blend it. So just make sure the hair is in the right. And if you're going from one side, the same thing you're going to do on the other side. So if his head is tilted to the right on the left side, when you go to the left side, tilt it to the right. Opposite. So when you're on the left, you tilt to the right. When you're on the right, you tilt to the left. Whatever it is, you do the opposite. For a tall guy like me, like I'm 6'1", sometimes the chair doesn't go high enough, and I feel like I'm hovering over the client and I'm not able to see like at a good angle. So every now and again I will step back and take a look at it, or look through the mirror, or even dip, bend my knees and just look, or I can tilt the client's head a little lower just to get kind of so we're on the same we're parallel, looking at each other, myself and the haircut, that is. So it's hard to see, but every now and again I'm readjusting the lever, and I'm using X-type motions to make sure everything is evenly distributed. I'm not using, like, sometimes I'll use a way of doing it in terms of just to show you, okay, here's step by step. This one I'm kind of just cutting the way I feel is comfortable, and sometimes you got to do that, right? I'm not particularly looking at a specific pattern as of how do I do it. Like, I grabbed the comb and I stuck it in there just so the hair does not keep bothering me and, you know, get chopped off by accident. So look at that, the hair comb came in handy. Sorry about the angles here. It's a little tough to see, but it is the same technique. When you're cutting around the ears, I know this might be, you know, you might not have to say this, but hold the client's ears. I have seen in the past a couple of clients' ears got clipped, and especially if it's a young client and they move a lot, you know, it does happen by accident, and it will give them a long-term effects. Every barber that cuts around the ears, they might get a little scared. So don't be that guy. Make sure you take precautions and hold the client's ears down as you're going around it. This video, I decided to do the voiceover first. I find voiceovers sometimes, for me, is a little lengthy and difficult, but I decided to do the voiceover first, and then I'm going to go ahead and edit it for whatever reason. Maybe I'm trying something new. I have been a little bit lagging on my video updates. I apologize for that. It's been a little crazy here because of the whole COVID. And I don't know. I'm just focusing on business right now, so YouTube is taking a back seat, unfortunately. So now I'm using the Babyliss again. The Gold FX is the trimmer. It's one of my favorite machines to do outlining. Try not to push that line too far. You want to go with as little as you can, so that when it will look sharp if you go back a little bit, but in a couple days it doesn't look good. And if you're just doing it for photos, that's, you know, could be a little selfish. You want your client to look as fresh as he can for a long period of time, not just for that one day. So if the client requests to go back, go back. But if not, just follow his pattern. Now, developing a technique to cut with these masks. Everybody has different masks, and you don't want to kind of touch them because, you know, the germs and whatnot. So I'm holding it, trying to keep his nose and mouth covered, and working around the sideburns because we are still not allowed to be cutting any beards for the clients just yet. Not sure when it's going to change, but for now we're just doing working around the masks. Now, when we first started, we opened up June, second week of June, and there was a crazy rush. Everybody needed to get their hairs fixed as they were doing it, and their girlfriends are doing it, and doing it themselves, whatever the fact may be. There was a lot of clients that had some haircuts that needed work. So we were really busy the first couple weeks. As of lately, I'm noticing numbers are dropping. I don't know. I'm talking to a lot of different barbers, and they're talking about the same things, you know. So all across the board, business is lower. You know, a couple of years ago, I heard that the barbershops were recession-proof, recession-resistant, whatever they may use. And in a way, sure they are, but it's looking like if nobody's going anywhere, they're not working, they're not going out, no weddings, you know, no birthday parties, not really. They don't really have as much need to get their haircuts as often. So the numbers are declining slightly. So as a barber, you got to find different ways to bring in revenue and be more creative. I mean, some guys put up their prices. You know, some guys are trying to offer more services that are legitimate. But on a whole, we just got to duke it out until things get a little bit better. Hopefully in the near future. We're in the month of August now. School's about to reopen. I have a really good feeling that school is going to close shortly after they open. So as parents, we have the option of sending our kids to school full-time or keeping them home and homeschooling. So September, October, we're going to see all these kids going back to school. You never know what's going to happen. Just be careful out there, you know. So I got a little downtime. I woke up this morning and said, you know what, I'm going to shoot a video. And because I said that, I found somebody, or I asked somebody, and I did a video right before this client here, and my camera, I'm using my phone. I got a Samsung, and my camera just decided it's gonna stop working. And I don't know what it said. It had some message that I've never seen before, and I just wanted to finish my client up, so I only did half the video, and I resetted my phone, and it worked again. So I was able to shoot this video. It's only going 10 minutes at a time, so I had to do 2 different clips that I will have to edit after this voiceover. Maybe it'll be long, maybe it'll be short, I'm not sure yet. So now I'm just perfecting this cut. After doing all the edge ups, I'm just fading out the back, fading out the taper a little bit. This is the lowest level I'm going to be going. I'm not using the foil shaver on him. I felt like he didn't really need it, so I didn't go ahead and use it. Usually I use it on the back, at least. I don't think I use it on this client. You can see when he's done, like when his hair drops, his hair is super long. I did trim it a little bit off camera, and it didn't really take off much. He just wanted me to take off the frizziness on the ends. And you barely see the fade because it drops down so low. So, I mean, I'm doing a lot of this work, but a lot of it is going to go unseen by anybody but himself, really. Unless he has it up, which I don't think the style is what he's going for. Now I'm just trimming down the sideburns and taper it into the fade. It's the finishing touches. Take off that mask, put it back on. Try not to touch it too much. I'm using a 0.5 against the grain, obviously. Then I go up a little bit. You can see my finger just changing the notches a little bit. All right. That's just the details. You take a step back, like I said, and just take a look at it. Get out all those imperfections. A lot of it you don't see until you take a photo or do video, and then all the imperfections come out and you're like, wow, I did so many videos and I never posted it because I just see something. And I don't like to be in the position that I'm teaching and I'm seeing so many mistakes. I mean, people will always criticize, but I think I'm one of my best critics. But to be honest with you, I gotta follow what I preach, and I will say that it's better to put something out and try than to not try at all. So I'd rather put out a video with a few imperfections, because a haircut's never perfect. Even the ones that look perfect, a lot of them are photoshopped or have some kind of thing just for the photos, some kind of enhancement. A lot of my cuts, I don't use enhancements anymore. I do sometimes if a client requests it, but on the most part, it's just straight up photo, no photoshopping. You know, a lot of times the lighting is not even great, so the photo doesn't come out the way that everybody else's looks like. And yeah, you could say, yeah, Chris, we'll step your game up. Do those things that everybody else is doing. Maybe I should, but presently I am not. This is just raw. And I got a large clientele for that reason. My haircuts don't last one day, right? So do what's right for the client, not just for IG. I've been a barber for over 25 years now, before barbershops were even popular. When I first started, there was only a handful of barbershops in my city. I'm from Ottawa, Canada. And now, just the barbers that I trained alone is, you know, about half a dozen. So the industry is growing fast, thanks to IG, thanks to those Photoshop cuts. A lot of people are paying more attention, but doesn't mean that we can't do the right thing, right? So I'm gonna finish this cut off using the blade. Now this was a little tricky because you have to pull the skin back, and the mask was a little bit in my way. So again, do the best you can. And I tried not to ask my client for assistance, even though I could. Like right here, yeah, see, boom, it fell. It's like I just dropped his underwear. That's something dumb to say, but that's how it feels. Like when you take off the mask, it's like people are not supposed to see your face anymore. As sad as it is. Put it back on. Make sure the nose is covered. Line up the back a little bit. Oh, haircut's looking good. I'll line the other side. Like I said, this is one of my best friend's son. I think I want to say 17 now, and he's taller than me. He's like 6'4". He's playing ball. You know, I never like looking up to little boys, but I got love for him. He's a nice baller. Hopefully he goes somewhere with it. You know, you get what you put in. So he's putting in that work. His dad will be proud if he makes it somewhere. That's for sure. Shout out to Abdullah. I've been cutting Tarek's hair since he was like baby. Now he's a grown man. Like in the last year, he's gotten a mustache. Like I'm gonna have to start outlining that. Crazy. As upcoming barbers, I recommend that you take photos of your younger clients, anyone under 10, because in the future, you know, you can go back and show them, yo, I used to cut your hair when you were mad young. And a lot of clients have respect for that, and they stick with you for years because of that. All right, so that was the end of the video. Hope you guys liked it. Like, subscribe, share, you know what it is, or don't. I'll see you on the next one. Stay fresh. Peace.